Welcome back to Fandom on Demand. I have no excuses for my long absence, so I'm not even going to bother. Let's just talk about the Plauge, shall we? This is an interesting two-parter to me because it should be my favorite episode. It is on the cusp of being my favorite episode, and yet it falls a bit short because it has so much focus in all the wrong places. And for being a two-parter, it has no excuse for that. So let's talk about why this episodes do so much right and yet so much wrong.
The white zone is for immediate loading and unloading of passengers only. No parking.
Must resist airplane joke. We start out with Hutch telling Starsky about some village in some place where everyone lives to 148. I only bring this up because it comes back a few times.
Hey, I'm putting me on. What kind of life is that, huh? Without teeth, no booze, no, you know what I mean? You know something, Starsky, really gross?
Oh, says the man who's dated 2 hookers. Shut up, you slut. It seems that Hutch has got Starsky's syndrome of disappearing shirt buttons. It's honestly not as much fun for me on him. Anywho, they're at the airport to pick up an old friend named Jake. Jake is there to jumpstart this epidemic and then die. As you can imagine, there has never been such a well-rounded character. Any germaphobes might want to give this one a pass. It will make you paranoid. This fellow is Thomas Callender, our patient zero, hitman, and guy who takes up way too much screen time in these episodes. He meets up with Helen Yeager and her son Richie. They will also be taking up way too much time.
My dad went to Canada, but he never came back.
Yeah, well, Canada's a dangerous place.
Mr. Donner died 12 minutes ago.
No.
Well, Jake was disposed of rather quickly, dead at a whopping 10 minutes in. And Hutch wastes no time moving in on the grieving widow. Slut!
All 3 of you will be placed under quarantine until after the autopsy.
Oh, wait a second, Doc. We're officers at a lot.
And as such, we are immune to all diseases. Everyone knows that. The boys are taken into quarantine, and it's here that we meet Dr. Judith Kaufman and Dr. Something Meredith. They give the boys a clean bill of health, which honestly shows how much they know.
Did Jake die from the plague or something?
Well, we can all go home. Dr. House over here has already figured it out. Oh, okay. To be fair, they're concluding that the guys may not be infected. So naturally, being unsure, they're going to take them out and expose them to as many people as they can. Also, are we going to follow up on Jake's wife, or no? Maybe?
I've seen 22 people and 6 of them already on the way to the hospital.
Okay, I'm not a doctor or anything, but I'm already confused by the science here. How are they deciding who's possible and who's not? All of these people have contact with Jake, yes? But Judith is acting like there's a blood test she can do on the spot that tells them whether or not they need to go to the hospital. And if that's the case, why did the guys spend 72 hours in quarantine? And if the blood test is that immediate and that sure, why are they only saying that the guys may not be infected? It seems to me all these people should be going to the hospital, yes? Curl that dress. No. Okay, that guy dropped pretty fast. So did Jake, for that matter. That's not going to make a whole lot of sense come part 2. Poor Starsky just wanders around this episode looking so confused, and Hutch looks like he's trying desperately to pretend he understands all of this. Yeah, I went to college. I mean, that basically makes me a doctor. The plague pretty much passes through Callender like a moderate case of the flu, possibly because he's clearly a caveman, or maybe it's the power of his eyebrows. He also starts bonding with the kid. Who cares? Meanwhile, the guys finally identify Callender, and from here on out it becomes a case of trying to find Callender and use his magical plague-healing blood to save all the sick people. Callender's mission is to kill some rich crime boss named Roper.
Word on the street is that Roper's trying to spread out, take over Stern's territory.
You're stretching it.
Look, Cap, we're halfway through part 1, okay? We gotta get a move on. So they follow Roper in the hopes of finding Callender, which they do, before promptly losing him. And then finally, the shoe that we knew was going to drop, drops. Hutch has the plague. Well, we knew it had to be one of them, otherwise what's the point of this whole thing, right? I have questions. Presumably he picked it up from Jake, but so did the paramedic who took Jake to the hospital, and he came in contact with him after Hutch did and got sick sooner. The thief from the start is already dead from coming into contact with Jake. So let's be nice and assume that Hutch picked it up on the day that Jake died. That was a week ago. They spent 72 hours in isolation, and judging by how many outfit changes they've gone through, another 4 days out on the streets. And he's not even showing any symptoms yet. Why is it taking so long? Other than the fact that he's a main character and therefore cannot die. Also, why didn't Starsky get it? He was around Jake just as much. Or Jake's wife. But then again, we never got back to her. For all I know, she might be dead. Or why not Judith? She's been hanging around Hutch. Am I to assume that Hutch's healthy lifestyle was a detriment to him and Starsky's eat whatever has the most fat in it has helped him? Because I'm down with that. So Hutch goes to the hospital and Starsky goes to keep searching for Calendar. Only now he's a bit touchy. He will be snapping at pretty much everyone he comes into contact with.
Yeah, well, we both know that's not enough.
I don't have any choice, Starsky.
Well, Hutch doesn't have any choices either.
Don't talk to me like I'm some cold-hearted bastard. I love Hutch as much as you.
Oh, no you don't. So after spotting and losing Calendar again, Starsky makes a rousing speech to this group of cops.
Good partners are hard to come by. That's why every mother's son is going into that field. That's where Calendar went. Now, if you don't find him in those woods, I want you to go up into the next hill. If you don't find him there, I want you to go around the bend to the next pasture. I want you to look under every rock, in every bush, up every tree, and when you get tired and wiped out, put your tails back in gear again. Keep looking. Keep moving.
Well said. He snaps at a couple more people and that's our cliffhanger. And it's certainly a better cliffhanger than Murder at Sea Part 1. Aside from what I'm sure is accurate and sound science, this is a very solid episode, even if you are just waiting to see which one of them gets sick. Can Part 2 live up to this? No, not really, no.